One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody? I hope everybody can hear me today because we are on a new connection to deliver the show. It looks like everything's 5x5 on YouTube. SV, if you could let me know if Rumble and X are live. But the rest of you guys, how's it going on today? What is today? Today's Tuesday. I'm losing days because, as you guys know, Ashley and the Grand Girls are here in town. I'm only going to be able to do one show today, so I got to make it count. We had a great time last night, stayed up till all hours of the morning, having fun with her and the girls. And then today we're going to go see the Smurfs, which I can't wait. But at least I will be there with them, so we'll have some fun. Then we'll have dinner at the movie theater. So in that regard. So let's go back. I had a show planned last night, and it happened, before we got into the craziness of everything that happened in New York. And that was absolutely awful. So I didn't get to do the whole show. So I restructured it so I could do it today. So today I'm going to deliver you what should have been last night's show, but we're going to do it today with a little bit of a twist. So as you probably know, and as you've probably heard, Sydney Sweeney has the entirety of the libnuts losing their absolute minds. And because of that, I thought to myself, President Trump is flying right now. He's got a 6-hour flight due to land here back in the States at 7:30 or so. And Congress is doing nothing as they normally do. I thought this would be a good time to just dig into more stuff economically viable for America. And this whole dust-up with Cindy Sweeney has got them losing their minds. And I realize why they are losing their minds. I'm going to break it down like I normally do. I'm going to show you why these people are losing their minds. And I'm going to come at you from the perspective of my background and experience, who spent 25 years in the advertising business, and so I understand how advertising works. I understand how advertising campaigns are developed, how they're filmed, how they're placed, everything about an advertising campaign. And I'm going to give you some of that insight today. So before we get too deep, I want you to tell me, in the two commercials that I'm going to show you, which one of these two commercials would you find yourself, even if you don't listen to commercials, which one might sell you this car? And where is it? Hold on. Not sure what that was. That was very weird. Am I still live? That's very weird. Hold on. Let me try something else again. Looks like I hope I didn't lose something here. Hold on. Let me try and bring it in this way and play it this way. Okay. Ready, let's go.
Have you ever noticed how in Hollywood movies all the villains are played by Brits?
Maybe we just sound right.
Good evening, sir.
Thank you, Mary.
We're more focused, more precise.
We're always one step ahead.
With a certain style, an eye for detail.
And we're obsessed by power. Stiff upper lip is key.
And we all drive Jaguars.
Oh, yes. It's good to be bad.
Meanwhile.
So that commercial obviously was from Jaguar. And it was everything that their demographic wants. When I say demographic, what I like and what you like are going to be different according to our positions in life, what appeals to us and things of that nature. And a lot goes into finding out demographics. Who's going to buy a Jaguar? Who can afford a Jaguar? What kind of men, mostly their demographic, buys a Jaguar? And you have to know this whenever you're selling a product. It doesn't matter if it's cookies. It doesn't matter if it's toothpaste. Who is going to be buying this product? Companies spend gazillions of dollars every single year just to determine that customer avatar. And that customer avatar is how old, what sex. Yes, they have a sex. It's not buying. It's not all this other stuff. You're either male or female. How old you are, how much money you have, where you live, what's your buying patterns. All these different things go into, hey, how can we craft this ad? And what has worked for us is also, you want to go back to the well. If something has worked for you, you go back to it. New Coke found that out. Here, Coke's working. Hey, let's do a new Coke. Oh, that didn't work. Let's go back to what was working. We have to continue what's going on with our brand. And so at this point, as they found this out, Jaguar's like, hey, this works. Fast stuff, adventurous, spy-like. That works for us. But then they decided to get into the Obama era and go woke and decided they wanted to do this crap.
Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. It's true. Look at what's happening.
Everything woke turns to what he just said. And so as you looked at those two commercials, notice one thing that's it's very, very much a part of advertising in every single campaign ever known to man before Obama. You got to show your product in the ad. In the first one I showed you, there's guys, cool-looking, debonair, adventurous, obviously luxurious, affluent men driving a fast car. And the other one, I don't know what they were, never mind who they were, and they didn't even show the car. They completely left the car out. That makes absolutely no sense. What am I buying? I'm not looking to buy the whole, Transformer stuff. That turns me off. It turns off a lot of people. In fact, it turned off so many people. Jaguar lost 97% of their sales when that thing started running. It's an obvious failure. And that happened with lots and lots of companies. All of a sudden, hey man, why are you showing that in the underwear ad? Remember the whole thing with, I forget her name was, I think it was Gwen Moss and Mark Wahlberg. And hey, look, underwear. Wow, that's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden, one day you turned on and they had a pregnant guy selling Calvin Klein underwear. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I believe at this point, I think USAID was funding all of these companies. Hey, if you can lose money, don't worry about it. You lose it, we'll go ahead and subsidize you. We'll give you the money back. Just keep pushing this DEI crap. All right, but you're going to alienate your core group of customers. That's all right. The government's paying us a whole bunch of money. I believe that actually happened because I've never seen any company anywhere, any advertising agency who walked in and said, you know what, we're going to completely flip over everything you've done because we have to go towards this DEI market. Said no advertising agency ever. And so that had to be government incentivized. It had to have been. Because now they've quickly turned it around and they're doing business again. And so that leads us to this whole Sydney Sweeney thing.
Did American Eagle just run an ad for eugenics?
We begin with the backlash over a new ad campaign featuring actress Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, the ads are for American Eagle, and the tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, in one ad, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress talks about genes as in DNA being passed down from her parents.
The play on words is being compared to Nazi propaganda with racial undertones.
Compared by whom? You see, this is why you just cannot listen to the media. You can't listen to the media at all. They're completely full of it. Hey, it's being compared to some Nazi stuff. Never mind, they're not telling you who the people are that are comparing it to Nazi stuff. This is classic advertising. I'm selling jeans, and I want other young women to buy my jeans. Those who identify as younger women, those who identify as younger women who like to have a sexy look about them, younger women who care about how they look, younger women who want to catch eyeballs. That's their demographic. And you're paying attention to the nutty demographic. The nutballs out there, oh man, it sounds racist. Guess what? That's not their market. I don't care what those people think. Every single brand will tell you prior to Obama and his crap, I don't care what you think if you're not my market. Sort of like trolls in our chat. We don't care what they think. They're not the people we're doing the videos for. They're not the people I'd want to consider as being subscribers and return viewers. I don't care what they think. That's why SV and the other mods are so quick to like, boom, you're done. Bye. Don't care. Don't need you. Don't want you. But our media is focusing on the people they don't care as if they're the ones they should be caring about. Completely backwards. American Eagle's like, so wait a minute, so there's some chicks with nose rings and kind of obese and don't even know what sex they are, and we're mad, or we're supposed to be concerned that they're mad at us? No, it doesn't work that way.
The pun, good genes, activates troubling historical associations for this country. The American eugenics movement in its prime between like 1900 and 1940 weaponized.
Now remember those dates, because I'm going to show you something. They're going to show these people are completely full of crap. She said 1900 to 1940. She's going back to Hitlerian days and saying, you know, they're trying to be Nazi propagandists. You know, whole eugenics things. Really? When did you start getting concerned about, I don't know, people wanting to look, feel, appeal to a certain market? Yeah, we know when it happened. It happened with all this Obama crap because you all bought those glasses. Those were your moniker. Everybody could see, oh, hey, yeah, I'm liberal and I'm crazy. I got the big glasses on. And I want everybody to know when I walk in the room, I'm one of them. Because everybody else was like, oh, there's the glasses. There they are again. That's your brand. Your brand is nut job. Everybody can see when you walk in a room, they start rolling their eyes. Here comes a nut job. Yeah, you own it.
Is the idea of good genes just to justify white supremacism.
Despite that backlash, American Eagle stock has been soaring.
Oh, at the end there. Oh, by the way, yeah, the American Eagle stock has been soaring. Oh, really? You just put that as an afterthought? Maybe you should have put that as your forethought. Maybe that's a thing that you should have led the whole thing with. Here, let me show you. American Eagle stock, AEO, has surged 24% since they started using Sydney Sweeney in her ads. 24%. Their market cap has has added $400 million. $400 million in less than 30 days when they started this campaign. 400 million. Let me just get this right if I can in my head. We've just raised an additional 400 million, and we've got these idiots out here saying, you know, it's eugenics. Oh my God, what's happening? You know what? If I'm the director of that company in terms of marketing,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I'm walking into that meeting and I'm high-fiving everybody. I'm realizing right now our team probably got a raise. The brand has probably called up, AE has probably called us and said, we need to extend your contract. You just made us $400 million by putting this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, buxom woman on and just doing a very cheap, inexpensive spot of her just, it wasn't like the Jaguar spot with helicopters and everything flying around. It was just her walking around in a tank top and hanging out. And they made $400 million. For those of you who don't realize this, the single reason you go into business is to make money. You don't go into business to, hey, let me promote DEI. You don't go into business to say, you know what? I need some more of these lefty nuts in here. We need some purple-haired, nose ring. We need all that. Bring them up. No, you have your business plan. Your business plan is, how can I sell more stuff? I don't care if it's a widget. I don't care if it's a cell phone. I don't care if it's a knife from Patriot Attic. How can I sell more stuff? What is my demographic? But the television people say, there's people complaining. These people don't like it. These people are really upset. Who freaking cares? Like Trump said, President Trump is blowing this economy up, and President Trump says, if you take advantage of the opportunities I'm going to provide for you, you're going to make a lot more money. And that's from the top down, the people sewing the jeans, the people packaging the jeans, the people in the retail stores. Everybody's going to be making more money, which is the single reason you opened the business. And I think what they have tried to do is, well, not tried, you can see it. They have tried to shame people over and over and over. Even some people in our chat have been like, I don't know about making money, man. I'm comfortable. I don't care if you're comfortable. But you can't look down on the people who are in business to make more money. It's funny, last couple days ago, SV and some of the mods and Roaring Rage were dealing with people who are complaining about commercials. I'm telling you right now, if you don't like the commercials, yeah, you might want to unsubscribe and go someplace else. I'm about making money. This is a business. My daughter, my grandkids, my wife, even my 2 little dogs are like, keep going. That's why we're here. And right now we've got a short window because these other Republicans and some of the Democrats have lost it. They don't want you to prosper. So when I see this stuff about Sydney Sweeney walking around in a tank top, I'm not looking at her as an object of sexuality. I'm looking at her as a money tree. She's an absolute green goddess. If I'm owning American Eagle, I'm like, yeah, get back out there. If you're willing to prance, I'm willing to pay you. Because you're going to generate more money, which is why we are in business. But you wouldn't think that from listening to these nuts.
Down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
Totally just talking about denim, right? Just a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman explaining how her good genes gave her personality and purity. I mean, are we really going to pretend that this isn't a little fashy-coded? Look, I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney personally wrote this ad to revive the Third Reich, but American Eagle absolutely knew what they were doing here.
You're damn right they knew what they were doing. At the one statement in her rant, that is absolutely true. American Eagle knew damn well what they were doing. We're going to go back to what actually works. We're going to turn around that balance sheet that's looking like this and go, boom. We're going to make $400 million in the next 30 days. They knew exactly what they were doing. And here's what they're doing. They're telling you people, shut the F up. If you're not buying our jeans anyway, why do we care what you think? If you're not voting for President Trump, why do we care what you think? These people are never coming back. This is what I've been telling you quite some time. And they can't even think about the fact that you're not going to be where they are. And secondly, it doesn't work anymore. The shame, the uproar, the media, it doesn't work anymore. American Eagle's like, I don't care.
Get to drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster and expect people...
Somebody who could walk off a Nazi propaganda poster. I don't know if you've been in the South or even in California. I think they made a song about that. You know, the California girls. That beautiful women, like it or not, have sold. They've sold hats. They've sold jeans. They've sold food. Oh, do you remember the Carl's Jr.'s commercial? If you don't remember the Carl's Jr. commercial, there's probably one of two things. Probably you're a woman. 2, you might be a vegan, so you never watched it. But you definitely ain't a guy. Because the Carl's Jr. commercial makes that jeans commercial that Sydney Sweeney is, yeah, look like kindergarten. Carl's Jr. said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring out some really oily, greasy women, and we're going to have them in basically tank tops and nothing else, and they're going to prance around eating a burger. That's their commercial. That was the pitch. Hey, okay, well, how are you going to sell my burgers? Okay, we're going to put Paris Hilton and some other really buxom blondie women in like Daisy Dukes and cut off shirts, and they're going to walk. Well, how is it going to sell hamburgers? Because people are going to watch. Oh, I got it. Oh, you mean like eyeballs? Yeah. And so when they think of hamburgers and hungry, they're going to think of these ads. They're going to remember them, and they're going to buy. They want to trigger. See, advertising used to be about triggering memories or experiences. That is what has always sold. The memory, the experience, the duty, like, wedding, anniversaries and birthdays and stuff like that. K Jewelers, everything's better with K. And then what does she do? You give her the little box and she gives you the big kiss. Where were these people then? Now when they show K, it's like two guys. It doesn't ring the same, does it? For anyone who's of the two-sex circuit, you're like, why do I want to see a guy pregnant in an underwear ad? Doesn't do anything. These people are never coming back. We have to stop thinking unification, and we have to begin thinking roll over them. I mean, that's a tough thing to believe, but just steamroll these people.
Not to catch that reference. Good genes used to mean racial purity in fascist circles, and now it's just denim marketing. We are watching fascist aesthetics sneak back into pop culture through fashion ads, trad wife influencers, and yes, now blue jeans.
Okay, you may not have heard that term she just used. Trad wife. Trad wife. I would venture to say that 90% of the people in this audience right here watching this video, if they're married, are trad wives. Like, it's a bad thing to be a traditional wife, a traditional woman. See, that was part of the other thing that they just spelled on these people. You don't need no man, girl. You don't need no man. Don't need no man in the house. You need something, have your own babies. You don't need no dad. And a lot of women bought into that. I am woman, hear me roar. And they tried to, you can see it. You can see it in the way families have been diminished. You can see it in the fertility rates. You can see all this stuff. This was a grand design. You worried about Nazi? You should have been worried about Sanger. If you don't know what Margaret Sanger was, or who she is, even though you're carrying a torch for Margaret Sanger, that's the funny thing to me. Margaret Sanger basically invented the idea of having baby removal. She truly was a eugenist. Absolutely was a eugenist. But you're ready to, you get in the street to support Margaret Sanger. That tells you how stupid they are. They promote, in their dying breaths, they will get out in the street to advocate for Margaret Sangerisms. But then when you see what Margaret Sanger was really about, you think that Sydney Sweeney is that. You're completely lost. And everything traditional is bad. Trad wife. I don't care. Maybe I'm a trad husband. What? The problem with everything that's happening is they realize at this point that this uproar, this feigned uproar, is not working anymore.
This was an innocent ad. You have not been paying attention.
I will be the friend that's too woke because those Sydney Sweeney American Eagle ads are weird.
Seriously? You remember when I was just telling you about demographics? And you want to sell your product to the people who are going to buy your product? No. So why are they making a big deal of people like this who are not even in the demographic and what they're complaining about? No, it's weird. It's supposed to be weird to you.
Like fascist weird. Like Nazi propaganda weird.
My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, eyes up here.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
You know, another thing that advertising does, it makes fun of things in real life. If you've been around a woman who has large ones, and you've been anywhere with a woman who dresses up and goes to dinner, or when she was younger at a nightclub, and she has endowments, that's not odd. I remember when the woman I got engaged to 32 years ago, and I was like a kid in a candy store, like, hey. And you try to make it not obvious, like, and there's times when you've been around people who are like, hey man, you want to look up here? I'm up here. Oh, hi. Tell me, ladies, if you haven't had to tell a guy or two, I'm up here. And tell me, guys, if you haven't been caught going, yikes. I think they made a movie scene about that. Remember that? Was it Meet the Parents or something? Where the kid was like, lunch. What they appeal to is the primal aspect of human society. Men like, who said that? Clay Travis. Men like boobs and beer. Sorry, that's what men like. And they tried to make people not be men. You guys knew about the whole chain called Hooters. That's what they were there for. Hey, if we can put hot dogs and wings and hamburgers with sports and chicks, we got a winning recipe. And for what, 30 years, Hooters they used print money. And guys would go, not this guy. No, I don't do that. I wouldn't disrespect my wife that way. But there are plenty of guys who go, hey, let's go watch the football game. Dude, you're not going there to watch the damn football game. You're going there to get some wings, get drunk, and check out the other things on the field. So this is primal nature humanity on display here. And they're making fun of it because they know everybody's looking at her things. But these people, the blue-haired, green-haired, half-binary, half-transformer, they can't deal with it.
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle is...
Wait. Oh, that's right. That's the problem. The company's named American Eagle. Oh, God, it's one of those kind of companies. And I don't even think they were patriotic. I didn't see them doing much. But the fact that they're named American, and now also they're selling a sexy woman, you put those things together, and that's kryptonite for these nuts. Which is tell you, this is why they hate Donald Trump. Donald Trump, his entire life as a playboy in New York City, like it or not, was doing whatever he could, whatever he wanted, with ever whom he could, and most of them were pretty good-looking women. And he got accused of this and he got accused of that, which he would probably tell you, yeah, I used to do a lot of stuff. I was a dog. I was a dog. Said every single guy his age with $1 billion. I guess you didn't even have to have the $1 billion. Every guy that age, if you had a few bucks, if you're decent looking, you had game, you were chasing it. You were chasing the cat. Sorry. That might sound offensive, but that's how we grew up. That's how we were groomed. Not to chase that. She made it a point to make this video in front of that flag to let you know, I don't want guys chasing me. I don't want guys looking at me. Well, we can see that. But you have a problem with Sydney Sweeney. So what you are, ma'am, you've just told every person watching your video, you're not in the demographic. So we don't care what you have to say. And President Trump is, I'm going to tie this up in a second and tell you what the real problem is here.
In fascist propaganda like this? Probably not, but it's still really shocking. Like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda. I also am thinking about like all of the young girls who are doing their back to school shopping right now at places like American Eagle who are seeing ads like this. Yikes. Also, American Eagle is...
I have two grandkids, two granddaughters who are, actually I have three grandkids, two granddaughters who are here with me right now. August 1st, Florida has a no sales tax holiday for you to go in and buy anything you want for, back to school, whatever you want. One of them is 10, the other one is 12. They can't wait to go shopping this Friday. It's like, we're going to go shopping. Guess where they're not going? To wherever this woman shops. I don't know if, last night I had the unpleasure of having their kids, and I had the unpleasure of watching Hannah Montana. And the young girls, which they are all singing the songs and everything else, and that must make this woman here turn into like Dracula. Girls being girls. Girls having fun, living their lives, wanting to look good. And these people are the antithesis of this. So they'll never spend a dime at American Eagle. They won't even spend a dime in Saks Fifth Avenue. They won't be spending a dime in Macy's. They will live in mommy's basement, eat the bugs, and look as unappealing as possible. That's their business. Nobody's telling them, don't buy the big glasses. Nobody's telling them, eat until your heart's content so you're not appealing. And definitely nobody's telling them to lop off your junk and play for the other side. No, that's a choice you're making. So you're pissed off that other people want to make a different choice.
Honestly, a brand that teenagers to young adults shop at. And so the fact that this type of advertising is being used that feels so for the male gaze and so over sexualized,
I don't know how old she is, but that's advertising, honey. And for most of my career in advertising, every single client would come to me and say, we'd have the board meeting, hey, how do we attract X? And everything I do on this channel, when I'm talking to you about a certain client or a certain sponsor, it's the same thing. Barry, your demographic likes Trump. Yeah, your demographic is a little bit older and has more disposable income. Maybe they would like this or that. Gotcha. It's all marketing. And they don't understand. I'm going to tell you why they don't understand.
I just don't like it. I don't like it even a little bit. Bro, and I haven't even mentioned the fact that this entire ad campaign that Sydney Sweeney is doing right now is incredibly reminiscent to the Brooke Shields Calvin Klein jeans ad campaign that she did when she was 14 years old. That was extremely over-sexualized and weird. Yeah. Why are we referencing that? Why are we referencing that? I thought we agreed that was weird.
Wait. I thought we agreed that was weird. Who's we? Who did she talk to? Who's the we all? We made sure everybody know that was weird. We can't have Brooke Shields, slinking around a stage and trying to sell jeans. That's weird. Who's we?
They had her do that. So we got a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman talking about her good genes in an ad campaign that is a reference to a 14-year-old Brooke Shields, Calvin Klein's ad campaign that we've all agreed was really weird and predatory.
Wow. By the way, most advertising, just like with movies, is cyclical. They know that each new generation probably hadn't seen the movies, the stories, the ads from the previous generation. She's referencing an ad that took place, okay, wait for the date here, back in the 1980s, maybe even 1980. She's talking about an ad that was 45 years ago. The kids who are now seeing the American Eagle ad weren't alive back then. So that's one of the reasons why I think this is a fake campaign, because that woman that person wasn't alive back then. So there's no we who think it's weird or everything else. It's her. And they keep saying this stuff. And I got another one for you.
Yeah, I don't like this one. I don't like it. I don't like anything about it, actually. Nope.
American Eagle using fashion as a way to influence young, middle American women, ages 15 to 25, because that's their demographic. And their prime reproductive years to focus...
Okay, so I want to show you a few points here. This woman has makeup on. That's somebody she saw an ad. She has a hat, and that style was based upon something she saw. She didn't invent it. The eyeglasses that she's wearing, she went someplace and said, I'd like that style. I can keep going. The jacket she's wearing, she didn't make it. The nails she's flashing is because other people have gotten nails. She's not the first person to go get nails. Everything about your life, unless you are the first, is following some other trend. We count on that as marketers. I know, as I've mentioned to you before, that when you buy a house, you're buying a house based upon either you want to live there or if you're looking to sell it and do whatever you need to do to make a profit. In order to do that, when I buy a house, I look and see, are other people going to want to live here? Are other people living here? Are they safe here? And, will this neighborhood appreciate? So I have all the data. So it's kind of easy to sell things because I know in this zip code, in this size house with these amenities, it's going to sell in about this period of time. Anywhere I go, I have the data. It doesn't matter if you're black, doesn't matter if you're whatever that other one was. If you're not in the demographic, nobody cares. Like she's probably in, and I don't mean this badly, she's probably in a Kentucky Fried Chicken demo. Did you realize when you watch commercials on television, the commercials you'll see on, I don't know, Third Rock from the Sun, I'm dating myself here, are going to be different than the commercials you would see on the Jeffersons reruns. Why? Because it's completely different people watching those shows. And so they know these people here are going to want to see this, and these people here are going to want to see that. It's very simple.
On purity and passing down the correct genes. And they thought it was a cute double entendre, but it wasn't. And don't think this was an accident. This was very intentional, and it would not have mattered one bit if a person of color was in the room because this message was not intended for us. Oh, and it landed.
Exactly. That's why I didn't understand these videos that I chose. Oh, you know this was intentional. Yeah. And this advertising wasn't intended for us. Yeah. Honey, then why are you making your video? What are you pissed off at? It wasn't intended for you, and they know you know this was intended, the intentional what they did. Yes, that's why we made the video. That's why we hired her to slink around on stage because we knew what the intended result would be. This isn't brain science here. It's not, it's crazy.
For its intended market, fashion companies use ads to send out very alarming messages. This isn't the first time, and it won't be the last.
Yep, that got me.
She's absolutely correct about that. But then you would never buy anything. I mean, Ulta Beauty, yesterday or last week, they decided they were going to do an ad where a man in a beard in a dress would go in and sell hair products. It was intentional, and they know the market they were trying to reach. It turned off a bunch of other people, but it definitely was intentional, and they definitely knew who their demographic was that they wanted to reach. Not that I know them. A bearded guy in a dress selling shampoo. That market size must be about that big. I can't even imagine. Hey, you got the TAM, total addressable market. You have the total addressable market, TAM, for bearded guys in a dress selling hair products. I'm thinking about, making some of that. Ulta did it. And it's funny. We laughed at it. We said, that's crazy. But you don't see us making TikTok videos go, oh my God, I cannot believe that they made this ad for bearded men in dresses. And you know that was intentional, don't you?
Me too. And I don't know why. Maybe because it's just so blatant. I keep thinking that people just are not gonna believe us until we're hung out there, but then even then I feel like they'll be like, oh no. Kind of like they are with
these people are never coming back. The reason why I wanted to show you this, a couple of reasons. They are never, ever, ever coming back. If you watch that ad and it brought you to tears, something broke inside of you. And that thing that broke inside of these people, you can blame the Obama and the Democrats. See, I wanted to tie this back. Some of you guys, Barry, why are you spending so much time talking about this? How does it have to do with anything Trump? Because Trump broke them. I want you to imagine that it's 2008, 17 years ago, and Obama wins and starts ushering in this era of insanity. And they continue to push the DEI and everything. What do you think the ages were of those women that were complaining? 24, 25, 26. These were the people that they brainwashed. These are the people that they gaslit. These are the people who were told and brought up and were taught in school that this is how things are now going to be. We're not going to be like this anymore. You got to focus on everything possible DEI. You're going to love all the gays. You're going to love Transformers. You're not going to look at white people the same. And in less than 6 months, everything they have, the values that they were taught, the values that they were brought up on, educated, and grabbed a hold of, has been ripped apart. And so when you see these people, you have to feel sorry for them because everything, their entire worldview has been not shaken in a snow globe. The snow globe's been pushed up and batted out of the park. President Trump is making sure that you know everything that you guys were brought up on for the last 17 years. Imagine that. You're 5, 6, 7, 8 years old when Obama got elected. And over the last 17 years, you were told this. And you went to college and you were told this. And you started your protest career. And now you're just a huge social activist and you've got social media and all this stuff to make sure that your worldview is promoted and that maggots, are let them know that they're crazy. They're a cult. Not realizing they're the ones in a cult. Not realizing that in the last 17 years or so, they have been put inside that snow globe. That's why they can't look at anybody above the age of 30 and go, what is wrong with you? You want to get married? You want to have kids? Oh, and these white people and these Jews and that, they can't even comprehend. They were bred and raised and taught and MK Ultra'd into thinking a certain way. And now everything they know to their core is being, ripped up in their faces. And they can't take it. They can't. I mean, you could hear those couple of videos I just showed you. They're not making any sense. They're crying. What are you crying over? What do you mean I don't like it? It's not for you. Because they expect you to have their worldviews. They can't even understand how you would have a different worldview. You like Archie Bunker? Yeah, it was funny. We used to laugh. You can't even show that on television anymore. George Jefferson? Yeah, he was funny. Sanford and Son? All the shows? What was the other guy? Magnum P.I.? Oh, Baywatch? We can't. That's beautiful people. Oh my God. You can't. You can barely find those shows. You can't find the flipping Flintstones anymore. Because Barney and what was her name? Barney and Betty Robo and Fred and Wilma, they had traditional families, trad wives. Those are trad wives. You can't show that. We can't have Barney. You definitely can't have Gilligan's Island. Oh no, wait a minute. These people are on the island, and you got this one girl looks like she's from the farm, and then you got this other, buxom actress. Oh no, we can't have kids watching this stuff. Why not? Because life isn't like that. We don't have any place in our society where there's any room for that anymore. Look, there's not even any gay people on Gilligan's Island. There's no trans people on Gilligan's Island. That's wrong. Huh? That's what has happened to them. And the more you realize that's what's happened to them, the more you'll understand there is no way these people are ever coming back, and that's why they hate you, and that's why they hate President Trump. President Trump, in addition to initiating more prosperity into America, has initiated a completely different way of life, and these people can't take it. And especially can't take people making fun of it.
All right, time now for the 4 at 4 with Leanne and Sandy joining us. A new American Eagle ad campaign is facing some major backlash. The ad featuring actress Sydney Sweeney is a play on the word jeans with the J and jeans with the G. The tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And here's where the backlash comes in from some on social media, saying the white actress talking about her genes is akin to eugenics, which is the largely discredited effort to improve the genetic quality of a human population. Can we just bring some sanity to this, okay?
That's when you start seeing there's some people in the news going, can y'all just shut up? I'm serious. I'm reading this script that they put in front of me, talking about people having an uproar. Can we just get some more sanity? Nope. Not when you're talking to leftists. The sanity has left the room. It's forever gone. It's never coming back. Including, look at the, well, you'll see here, the woman on the lower right is going to try and interject some intelligence to this, and she sounds like a buffoon.
Here's a company that's trying to sell jeans. Sydney Sweeney is pretty. They're using a pretty woman to sell their product. End of story.
Yes.
There's nothing else going on here, in my opinion.
I agree with you 100%, Larry. I mean, I think you can say anybody can have great genes.
Yes.
They're traditionally mainstream beautiful, and that could be someone who's black or Latino or Asian or Hawaiian, anything. A lot of people have great genes.
Yep.
We
I
all
just
have great
think,
genes.
actually, I just think she wasn't reading the room, and I think the company wasn't reading the room. Now's not the time.
Now's not the time. No, we can't do this now. That's no longer accepted. Well, guess what President Trump said? President Trump said everything woke turns to you-know-what. And he meant it, and he made a push to make sure everybody knows everything woke turns to poo-poo.
For this, but at the same time, I argue, what if J-Lo would have sold jeans this way? Would anybody have a problem with that?
No.
I don't think so, right? Now, but I do remember, so what makes up somebody who has great genes, right? I mean, like genes, as in G-E-N-E-S, right? Or great DNA. So
I hate when people keep saying right. No, I don't agree with you. And just because you're saying right, I'm not going to go, yeah. No, what makes up somebody with great genes? Depends on what the genes are for. I had great, fantastic genes. Maybe not here, but I was strong as an ox because my dad was strong as an ox, and my grandson is now strong as an ox. And people are like, where'd you get it? Well, yeah, look at my grandfather. He's a former Hulk. So his genes now at 16 and things he's doing, people are like, hey man, you shouldn't be able to do that. So yeah, your genes could be great depending upon what it is you're doing. I can't play basketball. I can't dunk. I can't fly through the air. I could dunk when I was younger, but I couldn't do all the acrobatics these people are doing. Yeah, it's genes. People can sing, and they sing very well, and sometimes their progeny can sing. Yeah, they had good genes. It's not a bad thing. Not...
This biologist reading several years ago saying that actually people like J-Lo, Puerto Ricans have the best DNA. Because they're so mixed. Features. They're so mixed because of the, ethnic diversity. Yeah. And health-wise, that could be good.
All right, here.
You're trying to rationalize this. So I'm about to close out this segment with a couple of funny things for you. So I want you to imagine you being on the board of this advertising agency, and you've got your client sitting in front of you and said, listen, I want you to make a great ad for me. So in the past, and if you guys had ever watched Mad Men, you know how ads, especially you got to have a cigarette. You got to have the guy, smoking a cigarette. Well, all that stuff that you ever saw on the show Mad Men, it actually happened. And so here's probably what the Jaguar pitch looked like.
Go. A Jaguar prowling through the dense jungle, muscles ripping with raw power, when suddenly a Jaguar F-Type roars into frame, tearing through the jungle like a hurricane.
Yes. Okay, so picture this. A James Bond type character is behind the wheel of a brand new, luxurious Jaguar. He's speeding down a cobblestone street.
Oh my God, I am so sorry I'm late, guys. Prior traffic, the men were just, oof, delish. Okay, anyway, let's just follow me, okay? To hell with the car. We don't even show a car, and not even a Jaguar. That's so
Wait. We have to show the car.
Wait, no. You have to shut up and let me cook. Anyway, moving on. I just think we just show random people. Like, guys, is it a girl? Is it a robot? I don't know, colors, pastels. I want people to have to Google what the hell this car looks like, okay? I want people just to know one thing, that we're loud and we're proud.
We're a car company.
I just want one piece of advice for you. Shirt, dress, tacky. Just, when I saw you, I almost vomited. Okay, but anyway, let me just show you what I'm talking about, okay? Roll it. So, do you like it?
No.
I love it! Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so happy you liked it.
Wait.
Huh?
I know just the person to lead this.
Who? Dylan Mulvaney! I love her, Dad! I love her!
By the way, are you new here?
No, I was just dropping off nuggets on Uber Eats for Jennifer. I just saw the door open. I just said to hell with it.
Welcome to the team.
See, we can laugh again. We can actually laugh about this stuff. You remember laughter, as Robert Plant once sang? We can laugh. It's fun. It's okay. It doesn't mean I'm a pervert or something. It doesn't mean that, oh my God, Sydney Sweeney. I'm going to have to run over to American Eagle and sit outside and see who walks in there. No, it's an ad. That's all it's ever going to be, is an ad. And if you can't handle it, well, remember that I told you, remember what that lady said about 1940s and, eugenics and stuff? Somehow, she looked old enough to remember this, but she didn't seem to reference it.
The secret of life lies hidden in the genetic code. Genes are fundamental in determining the characteristics of an individual and passing on these characteristics to succeeding generations. Occasionally, certain conditions produce a structural change in the gene, which will bring about the process of evolution. This may occur in one or more of the following ways. Firstly, by selective mating, in which a single gene type proves superior in transmitting its genes to future generations. Secondly, by gene drift, in which certain genes may fade away while other genes persist. And finally, by natural selection, which filters out those genes better equipped than others to endure in the environment. This may result in the origin of an entirely new species, which brings us to Calvin's and the survival of the fittest.
Calvin Klein jeans.
Marketing, advertising hasn't changed in like forever. And these people on the left just don't seem to have any idea what the hell is going on. And I'm convinced that their worldview has broken. Donald Trump has taken their worldview and just put it in a blender. They can't understand how you can't see from their perspective. How everything in their gaze is in this purple and pink and blue spectrum that they use on their flag, and not understanding there are people who actually don't want to be associated with that. They grew up being mind melded to be complete morons, and now they can't understand how their worldview is just completely kaput. That is what's going on with these people. Now, I've got Susan Crabtree coming up here with an interview, but before I get to that interview, I want to go ahead, and I hope none of you guys were ladies either were offended by that, because there were some risque things, but we watched risque things back then. You know, I remember the movie American Gigolo. I remember Pretty Woman. I remember all kinds of innuendo-based movies that did very, very well because we had imaginations and we didn't think everything was offensive. We didn't go crying, get in a fetal position in the basement because, oh my God, we saw people and they were straight. And these straight people were like looking at each other like they had ideas of doing some carnal stuff. And oh my God. Get a grip. Life is back. Enjoy it. President Trump is making us prosperous and bringing us back to where we're supposed to be. Real quick, before I get to Susan, what if you could delay your next 2 mortgage payments? That's right. Imagine putting those 2 payments in your pocket and finally getting a little breathing room. It's possible when you call American Financing today. If you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas, bills piling up, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on credit cards, and there doesn't seem to be a way out once you get into that trap. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off that debt. You need to call American Financing today before you get to the point where you can't make those payments. They're salary-based mortgage consultants, not on commission, so they're going to work with you, are helping homeowners just like you restructure their mortgages and consolidate debt, all without any upfront fees. And their customers are saving, get this, an average of $800 a month. That's close to $10,000 a year more back in your pocket. It's fast, it's simple, and it can save your budget this summer. Call now before it's too late. 888-976-5555. Again, 888-976-5555, or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Barry. All right, so we will be back in about 60 seconds, and I'll have Susan Crabtree here. Susan is from Real Clear Politics. She's a writer and reporter on that platform, so we'll be right back. And by the way, if you're looking to do some hedging, possibly some investing on your own right now, gold and silver are a very, very good bet. I won't even call them a bet. It's just an exchange of currency. So check this out. We're in a very volatile time right now. There's plenty of financial uncertainty. Now is not the time to be speculative. And I'm also speaking from a personal perspective. I'm buying income-producing real estate, and I'm buying gold and silver. A lot of people don't know the difference between the economy and the stock market. And too many people listen to the news and social media. That'll get you in trouble. Let's face it. It's obvious that a lot of people have an agenda they're not telling you about. Right now, your best bet is stability. And that means you might need to build a hedge against global volatility. May I recommend gold and silver to you? Real gold and real silver. Not paper, not certificates. Actual gold and silver. What gold and silver can give you is absolute peace of mind. A stock is only as good as the company behind it. It's merely a piece of paper. One of the things I can tell you is that many people are finding out the hard way that some of their investments were built on quicksand. Gold will never be worth zero. Silver will never be worth zero. If you want to calm some of your fears, give my friends at Lear Capital a call today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. Just so you know, Lear Capital has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $5 billion in trusted transactions. And Lear is the only gold company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So go to learberry.com. If you want peace of mind, give my friends at Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430. Or look down here below and go to learberry.com. And don't forget to ask about getting up to $15,000 in free gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't wait. Do it now. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Be safe. All right, so I've got Susan Crabtree in the building here. Susan has a book, and it's called Fool's Gold, unlike the real gold I just told you about. She's Susan Crabtree. As you can see in her bio here on X, she's a Real Clear Politics national political correspondent, the 2024 Dow Prize for Investigative Journalism. Going to have to ask her what that is. And you can get her new book on Amazon. It's called Fool's Gold: The Radicals, Con Artists, and Traitors Who Killed the California Dream and Now Threaten All of Us, which we will be talking about. Susan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good.
Great to be with you.
Hey, you're loud and clear. Right, glad to have you. So before I get into it, you had something very interesting in your bio, the Dow Award. What is that?
The Dow Award is a new award. It's in its third year this year. I received it last year for my Secret Service reporting about on the failures of the agency at Butler and the fallout afterwards. So the assassination attempt on Donald Trump and what's going on with the Secret Service and why are they having so many failures. The Dow Prize is striving to be the equivalent of the Pulitzer Prize with integrity for mainstream journalists and journalists of all stripes, just on the merits of their reporting and not, basically it's going to be, it's going to provide journalists of all political stripes an opportunity to be judged on their merit.
Awesome. Very awesome. I absolutely love that. So let's talk, we'll get to your book, but we're also going to talk about what you just said that won you the award. What was it that you exposed with the Secret Service and how hard was that? Well, we all saw what happened on July 13th, but how were you able to get that information in order to write that story?
Well, I had been covering the Secret Service since the Barack Obama presidency after the scandal involving the prostitution, the agents went down and before a trip that doing advance work before Barack Obama was there, they engaged in legal prostitution. It was a huge scandal in Colombia. And so I covered all of that fallout. There was a lot. And then there was several security breaches, fence jumping incidents, an incident with a gun, with a man with a gun in an elevator with President Obama that I broke, several other just terrible security lapses. So there was an independent commission that was convened, and they made all these recommendations that the Secret Service never followed. Followed some of them, but most of them not. And so here we are again. We wonder why there's Secret Service failures. And we have a terrible incident last year, almost killing the president and killing Corey Comparatori. And so it just goes to the heart of our democracy. The people should be allowed to go to rallies without fear of being killed in the process. And certainly the protection, the continuity of our government, the protection of President Trump. So I felt compelled to jump on the story, and I started contacting reporters right afterwards on the flight to the Republican National Committee. They were talking to me, old sources coming out of the woodwork, and I was talking to them, and I broke a lot of different stories. One of them being that Jill Biden had a similar event, not a similar event, but it had an event in Pittsburgh that night that had there's a lot of debate over this, but it did have more post standards, Secret Service post standards, the most elemental function of a Secret Service agent at her rally, her event. I will call it. It was an indoor dinner, an Italian-American it was very low key compared to a big outdoor rally. So I broke that story. I broke several stories about dissension within the ranks months ahead of time. I've broken a lot of DEI stories about, problems with Secret Service agents getting in trouble on the job for breastfeeding their children while right 5 minutes before Trump arrives and is supposed to arrive a critical period. You name it. There's a lot of different stories that I've broken on the Secret Service, and so and just this weekend as well, broke another story about an agent trying to smuggle their wife onto the Scotland trip.
What was? I'll get to that. I'm going to go back to July 13th.
Sure.
As of right now, most of us don't really know where the lapse was on July 13th. President Trump said he's satisfied with it. I don't know what he's satisfied with. The man almost got killed. Is he satisfied because they found the problem? Is that why he's okay now? Because he's like, all right, I see what the lapse was. Because there's to me, there's still so many unanswered questions. This guy Crooks we have pictures of him on his phone. Who was he talking to? Where did he travel? None of that stuff has come out. Have you been able to find out, what exactly he's now comfortable with?
Yeah, I've wondered that myself when he says he's comfortable with things. At first he wasn't, he was complaining a great deal about not knowing what was going on, not feeling secure. And now just after the Secret Service announced that 6 individuals would be suspended without pay, but only from 10 to 42 days. So no one's being fired. He somehow is comfortable. I think he has a lot on his plate and he hasn't looked at it. I mean, I've been following this since the day after July 13th. So since July 14th of last year, I have had numerous stories. If you go on realclearpolitics.com, you can just see all of them. And I have focused on the multiple errors. There were layers of failure that day on July 13th in Butler. And some of them have to do with, giving inexperienced agents the job roles that they were way in over their head. They had no business having, and the supervisors didn't do their jobs in providing the oversight that supervisors are supposed to do. And so they got off, at least 2 of them got off scot-free. In fact, they got promotions, and the inexperienced agents one of them was known as a partier, and she was posting social media. She had complaints on her record. So postings on social media from her assignments, including at Mar-a-Lago. And she was allowed to be the main person in charge of all of that advance work and execution that day. Now, she had layers of supervisors that were supposed to provide oversight, including someone from the inspection division, an inspector that was there because the rally was so big and there was an Iranian threat, over it. But they didn't do their jobs. They didn't ask why that building wasn't covered. And so, I mean, we can get into it, but there's just so many layers of failure. And the Secret Service is saying, well, everybody's at fault, so no one's at fault. So we're not going to hold anybody accountable. We're just going to try to get at the root problems. And to me, that sounds just like a cop-out, like Kamala Harris, immigration, root problems. The root problems are lowering of standards, no supervision, no one's held accountable, and it just keeps happening over and over again, these security lapses, and we can't afford that right now.
Why was there no one on that roof? I mean, I understand the Secret Service may have dropped the ball, but all the agencies that were involved, the local, how could nobody have secured that? I mean, it's not like one agency dropped the ball. It just seems like everybody did. And I've done many festivals and concerts, some a lot bigger than the Butler rally. Didn't have a president on stage or soon to be president, but I had some major entertainers, and we had to make sure everything was secure, and everybody had to basically sound off on their radios. I'm in position. How could that be such a blatant drop?
The Secret Service agents that I've spoken to, and they're seasoned. A lot of them are heading out the door, to be quite frank, because they're so embarrassed. They don't want to be part of the agency anymore.
Wow.
But they just couldn't believe it. And that's why I was getting the information I was getting, because they felt it was so egregious. But you had this young agent known as a partier who was in charge of the entire security. She did not tell the local law enforcement officers. They were hard pressed. They didn't have enough people, so they were depending on the local law enforcement, which is usual. It's normal, but they also had people from Department of Homeland Security coming in to supplement. They had people from all over the country coming in, agents, because they were stretched thin at the time. But that's really no excuse, because this agent didn't put anybody on there. The local Pittsburgh office, their counterparts didn't. They said they were going to question it, but they weren't in the final walkthrough because one of them was sick. The supervisors did not ask. And the counter snipers had their own plan. Now they're an elite force, and their plan also had terrible line of sight issues, including the tree in the way. So, Hercules 1, the first counter sniper, the more senior one, had to turn his body all the way around because there was a tree blocking their line of sight for the one that should have had the shot.
Wow.
And as you know, the local law enforcement got off one of the first shots that hit Thomas Crooks's his rifle and stopped him. And then the counter sniper was in position to make that kill shot. But there's a lot of it's interesting that hero that day, that counter sniper hero, was the supervisor for that 2-man team. He had 4 guys there, but 2 main counter snipers. And he was supposed to be the supervisor that was looking for faults and holes in their plan as well. So he didn't do his job either, and he was not penalized as well.
But Susan, can you have? You've dug into this so much, and I just can't fathom so many lapses. Have you gotten to any sort of conclusion? And maybe you can't even go here because of what you do. It just sounds too conspiratorial to me, because I could see one person screwing up, but you're talking about everything matched up. It was the perfect storm of ineptitude. Is that what really happened? It just happened to be a perfect storm, or have you gotten inferences in terms of your writing and in context that something more nefarious was going on?
Well, Dan Bongino on his podcast, and he had me on several times before he went to the FBI, he says that layers of incompetency equals intent. And I think the biggest fault that I have for the person I'm holding responsible, and actually 2 people, are Kimberly Cheadle and Ron Rowe, because they repeatedly denied security assets to Donald Trump over the course of a year and a half. And the current director, Sean Curran, pushed back on that, and he had the receipts. And that's why after Butler, they didn't blame him, because there was leaks that he had the receipts, and he had been asking for these assets, and they were treating Donald Trump as a former president, like he would treat Barack Obama, who not somebody who was campaigning, who deserved. It wasn't threat based.
Right.
And they did not. And now Cheadle's saying she didn't lie to Congress, and Senator Rand Paul is saying she did in his latest report. But there's no dispute that she denied multiple assets that President Biden and even First Lady Jill Biden got at her rally, at her event. The same night. They denied that over and over, and they only provided the counter snipers to Trump at that Butler rally really late in the game because of the Iranian threat that they heard. They were briefed on 10 days before, but they didn't manage to get the counter snipers there until 2 days before the Butler rally, even though they knew. So, I really blame the leadership at the top, and I blame the supervisors for not doing their jobs, and they put the wrong people in the positions that had no experience with this big of a rally. So it was multiple layers, but is it politics? People ask me that all the time. Well, I certainly think you can't exclude politics from this when you had Director Cheadle was handpicked by Jill Biden, and she's basically doing something that doesn't make any sense logic-wise. She's treating Donald Trump as a former president. He's not a current candidate who basically broke the mold, right? He broke the mold. He's having these huge outdoor rallies. He's the most controversial politician in modern history. And so, of course, it wasn't threat-based at all.
Crazy. So now fast forward to the trip to Scotland. Before this trip just happened, did you think that they've gotten things put back together and that Sean has a good squad before this weekend? Do you think that did you think that he had a good squad of people?
Do I think that he's made some improvements? I do. I do think, of course, there was huge improvements to make. Number one being the drone program, and they are getting more highly trained people there, because what happened with the drone that day, where somebody had to call, was on the hour, it was not operational, their drone and their drone mitigation system, he was even having problems that day. So do I think they've made improvements? Yes, I do. Do I think that he inherited a mess? And there's DEI issues involved, and there's evidence of that I can go into, and that they have a retention problem at the Secret Service. Senior agents, especially after Butler, are leaving in droves, so they have a brain drain, talent drain, and knowledge base drain. So they have these younger agents there that don't know the protocols, don't have the experience, and you saw. With the recent news a couple of weeks ago that you had a uniformed division officer basically at the White House soliciting a woman that he was having an online dating relationship with. Hey, come to the White House. I can get you in. Come today. And we all know that is ridiculous and just horrible. Their slogan is worthy of trust and confidence. Yeah. And so there's things that are undermining that on a daily basis, not on a daily basis, but on a regular basis that I've been reporting on. And so Sean has his work cut out for him. And I fear, and I have new evidence today, that they are spending way more time conducting witch hunts on my sources rather than spending the time to, convey the reforms they're making to the public through me or through anybody they want to. I mean, they could go call Sean Spicer. I understand, Sean Curran is friendly with Sean Spicer. They could go with anybody they want to. He's talked to Laura Trump, but it was not a very in-depth interview. And so he could call a press conference on the anniversary of J13. He should have, and said, these are the reforms that we're laying out. But he hasn't done that. So I still think their slogan, worthy of trust and confidence, is in question right now.
So you mentioned the DEI stuff. What have you found out as you dug through that? And the big question I have is, who is in charge of basically implementing that into the Secret Service?
Well, Joe Biden had an executive order making it a huge priority across his administration. And Kimberly Cheadle, who was, as I mentioned, hand-selected by Jill Biden, and Jill Biden got her a job at PepsiCo in between her time at the vice president's detail and before she was chosen as director. So I think Kimberly Cheadle embraced this idea with a vengeance that she was going to, promote DEI in the Secret Service. So she signed on to this 30 by 30 pledge, which was a national law enforcement effort to have 30% female officers by 2030. And so by the time she left in disgrace last year, after a terrible performance before Congress, she was at 24%. Now, that's not saying that women can't handle the job, but I had heard that she was in charge of the Raleigh Training Center, and there was a lot of disputes about this a few years back about her passing women and allowing them to, when they're not performing, they're not up to the standards. They weren't performing their PT and their other tests, their training tests up to standards, but she was still passing them through, including an agent that had a mental meltdown at Joint Base Andrews just a couple months before the assassination attempt.
What is it against protocol to either bring in his own security, because I'm sure he has access to some of the best security in the world, and B, is it against protocol to bring in the military?
Yes, it is against protocol. They would have basically dissolved the Secret Service at that point, because this is their job. This is
Right.
their number one, function. And, they know all the intelligence, they have all of the protocols. And I do, when Dan Bongino and Sean Curran were both up for the job, I thought, well, maybe Eric Prince could have been a dark horse. Eric Prince is very close to Don Jr. and the Trump family. And he was questioning it too. He was questioning why, and Sean Curran was the one out there on the stage, and everyone does view him as a hero, and he did rightly help save Donald Trump's life that day. But Eric Prince was very critical about how they didn't get him down and keep him down, didn't get him off the stage, because if there was a second shooter, he would be, unfortunately, he would be, it would have been a successful assassination.
It made for a fantastic picture, but it was a complete security mess up. I mean, he should not have been able to stand up and do that, because otherwise, like you said, if there was a second shooter or the guy wasn't disabled, he would have taken him out. So, I love the picture. Everybody loves the picture. But it wasn't. It's not what's supposed to happen. So it's iconic. So tell me what happened this weekend in Scotland. That's just after everything that happened on July 13th. Now you're telling me some guy tried to sneak his wife on?
That's right, and there was outrage in the Secret Service about it, rightly so. The details are interesting. I was boarding an airplane on my vacation, coming home from vacation, and outpouring of information coming to me. I mean, I think it was 8 sources, contacted me within 2 hours saying there was a wife that showed up at Joint Base Andrews, where they have Air Force One is going out to Scotland, and she was Air Force herself, but she rode the bus to the site, to Joint Base Andrews, got the country briefing provided by I guess it was the top Secret Service officials, and was going to, I think she even there's a dispute whether she boarded the plane or not. It's a C-17 cargo plane. My dad is C-130 pilot, so in the Air Force. So I know how these things go. Sometimes families think they can go space available, call it space A, and you can, but you shouldn't expect to join a Secret Service trip to Scotland. The next space A available wasn't coming to Scotland. There was no other planes that were going to Scotland that weren't part of the Secret Service effort and the presidential envoy. So, the delegation. So the supervisor stepped in and said, absolutely no way this is going to happen. So that got squashed, but it produced a lot of memes about, basically just a lot of funny memes about why she was allowed to go, what she was trying to do. And it was disturbing in some ways. Actually, a reporter, I think it was from the Daily Mail, just asked Donald Trump about this, and minutes before I came on, I got the transcript, and people were tweeting about it on X. And he said, it's a weird thing. And he said, maybe it's kind of weird because isn't it dangerous? And he got a little confused. He thought that C-17s aren't pressurized. They're pressurized, but it's not a glamour trip for sure. It's like you're in a situation where you're in the cargo part of the plane. But yeah, this got quashed, thankfully. And so there was no real major problem there, but it could have been. And I think these things have happened before, and that's why someone got wind that he could do it. He could pull this off. And that was not good. Hopefully it's a new era and people aren't going to try these things.
Oh my gosh. I just wonder what President Trump thinks when he finds and he hears this stuff or he sees it in the news. He must want to just grab people and just shake them. I mean, like, you understand what you're doing here, but you can't have those kind of security lapses. It's incredible. So take up too much of your time. I know you got to go. Tell me about the book, because the book, as I showed everybody, is Fool's Gold, and it's about California. Are you from California?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I spent 23 years in DC, and then I came back to California in 2017, and I discovered that, it is a pit of corruption out here. And so I just put my investigative, journalistic skills to work here, and I teamed up with Peter Schweizer's group, Government Accountability Institute, and his top researcher was my co-author. His name is Jed McFadder, and we did a 2-year investigation into some of the corruption in California, including Gavin Newsom's ties to China, his financial ties to China, because he's selling his wine there, and he opened up this charity called China SF and brought in all of these Chinese companies into California, undermining in many instances our own markets. And he also, didn't veto a bill that would prevent Chinese nationals and other foreign nationals from purchasing land in California. And those are just some of the parts of the story. But the most relevant one recently is this fire aid, right?
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, the $100 million, where did it go? It's not going to fire victims. But unfortunately, that's something that didn't come as a surprise to me, right. And that his wife's charity might be involved, because we did a lot of work about behested payments that he requested for his wife's charity, even from PG&E, which is one of the major energy companies in California, but they're responsible for the most deadly, many of the fires, and including the most deadly fire. And he bailed him out. So there's a whole chapter on fire, the fire issues there, and in and Gavin Newsom's conflicts of interest, we call it his wildfire windfall, because there's money involved to her charity. And there's all about his upbringing and how he basically didn't have to do any performance. His whole life has been handed to him on a silver platter from Getty oil money, and his dad's political connections in San Francisco and throughout the state. So it's chock full of in investigative exclusive information that a lot of people have said it's a takedown of Gavin Newsom, and opposition researchers are buying it because we have 1,000 endnotes, and it provides a lot of good exclusive nuggets in there.
How can he still be a viable candidate for the presidency in 2028? You would think, you did the fire concert, you had all these big name artists that came out to help raise the money, and somehow he's able to keep them quiet. None of them are complaining about, hey, listen, where's the money? And the people are being tamped down. The media won't say anything. How can this guy possibly still be a viable candidate?
It's chutzpah. It's just pure. The guy thinks he can, because I said before, if you read the book, everything was handed to him. So he's never been performance based. He is taking the state down the drain, but yet he thinks he can, podcast his way to the presidency. And he just, he's slick. He's very, he can be articulate, even though when he's gesturing, you got to watch out, because the more he gestures, the more the lies are coming out. And,
you mean when he's doing all this kind of stuff?
He's playing the piano. When he was talking about transgender issues the other day on Sean Ryan's podcast, he says that transgender issues are deeply unfair, but he doesn't do anything about it. He is in charge. He can change the state's policies in an instant. And, in fact, his wife is a charity, one of her charities, is involved in pushing gender, they call it gender justice, but it's pushing this transgender ideology, not even into California schools, but across the whole country. She screens these documentaries and takes money for it. She charges to screen documentaries in 5,000 public schools across the country. It's just, you're not going to believe it if you read the book. There's so much in here that people's eyes are going to be opened about Gavin Newsom if they weren't already. You're going to be outraged. And people, just wonder, after they read the book, they're saying, are you okay out there in California?
No, you're not.
Do you have a security team? I said, you know what? I don't think he's that evil, but I do want people to know what he's capable of. And the fact, these behested payments, it's such a conflict of interest. He's taken them from tribes, Indian tribes, Native American tribes. So 500,000 to his wife's charity. And then he will act on it. He takes public action. to prevent the tribe from getting a casino. It's like Jack Abramoff all over again.
Oh my gosh. Do you think Steve Hilton or Sheriff Bianco have a shot of? Well, we don't even know who they're going to be running against yet. I mean, it looked like it's going to be Kamala Harris for the Democrats.
Yeah, she's keeping her powder dry a long time. She said she would decide by the summer. So everyone's looking at her, but there's a crowded field despite that of people running for governor on the Democratic side. Yeah, there's tons of people running for the lieutenant governor's running. The AG decided he wasn't going to run, but there's Xavier Becerra, who was the AG. Yep, that guy. And even the public school superintendent, Tony Thurman, who's in charge of keeping secrets from parents about their children's transforming their gender in schools. He is running too, but so Steve Hilton, and it's worrisome to me that they're splitting the Republican ticket. They're because we call it a jungle primary out here. The two top vote winners move on to the general from the primary. So if there's two Republicans split, you're not going to have a great chance. And Kamala Harris is leading in the polls. She is leading in the polls in California, name recognition. And so it doesn't look good for Republicans. The only one who has a plan is Richard Grinnell. Richard Grinnell is registering new voters in California. And that's the only tactical plan I've seen to change the dynamic in California.
I didn't even know he was running. I just thought it was
he's not running yet.
Okay, he hasn't announced. Okay, so he may announce. Okay, thanks for that information there. So what's the next we can expect from you? Are you going to keep digging into the Secret Service? What's next that you're going to release?
I have a story hopefully coming out either tomorrow or the next day, and it will be disconcerting, I think, to the majority of the public. It's about Kimberly Cheadle and her continued relationship with the Secret Service. So I would say stay tuned on that. I don't think if I were Donald Trump, I'd be too happy about this story that's coming out.
Have you shared any information that you're coming out with Sean in advance, or have you just kept it close to your chest?
You mean the director of the Secret Service?
Yeah.
Yeah. I contacted this morning, and I'm waiting for their response.
All right. So. Well, and I'm sure you're going to post that on your X profile so everybody can see it, correct?
That's right. And it'll be on realclearpolitics.com and at Susan Crabtree on X.
All right, everybody. Tomorrow or the next day, big article coming out, more about the Secret Service. Susan's been all over it. Follow her on X, and also take a look at the book on Amazon as well. Susan, thank you very, very much. We'd love to have you back after this article breaks to see what happens. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Barry, and thank you so much for your continued interest in this and being dogged on all of the issues that Americans really are focused on. You're just a breath of fresh air.
Thank you very much. I feel humbled. Thank you. Talk to you very soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was Susan Crabtree. I hope you guys got something from that. You can follow her. Don't wait till tomorrow's article comes out. She's already got a number of them on her profile, especially the one she talked about the Secret Service guy and wanting to get his wife on board. So go take a look at that as well. There's a whole bunch of information on her X profile. Every time I talk to you about somebody or bring somebody on, most of the people that I talk to have either written a book, or you can use their X profile as a book because there's so much information that you can garner from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We got a new thing with Rumble here, and I got to see how it works. Okay, so it says click the button here, so I'm clicking the button there, and I'm accepting, and I'm starting. And did it work? Hold on, let me see. Nope. Didn't work. Ashley, you can let them know that it didn't work when I tried to do this thing, so whatever. I'll just continue, and I'll be talking to you guys because that sucked. Let me try one thing. Let me see if I refresh, if I can click the button, and Let me see and continue. Nope, won't let me. I'm going to have to send that screen to them. Whatever. And we'll just move on, I guess. Sometimes it sucks. You try to get something done and it just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Oh well. All right, so let's take a few comments. Barry, I'm watching you from my Roku box and I have Rumble on, but it never lets me watch you on Rumble. That's interesting. I will let them know that as well. I wish Pam Bondi would look at the corruption in Illinois. It's been that way for years. Wow. Let's see. Breaking. All right, hold on. Breaking. Trump says he has banned... What? He banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. That's breaking. After he kept poaching the spa staff, including Virginia Jeffrey. When I heard, I told him, I don't think that's breaking, bro. A lot of us, we've heard that for quite some time. If Kamala, if Kamala is looking for a donor dumb enough to give her a profit, if Kamala is going to be the governor of California, I'm out, even though I don't have anywhere to go. Florida is very nice, very nice down here. Hi, Rhonda. Yes, she was indeed full of information. Marianne Cooper, great interview with Susan. Thanks, Barry, and may God continue his protection over POTUS. When you read the story, if you go on her page and you read the story about the Secret Service guy that completely tried to go beyond protocol and get his wife on that plane, you're wondering every single time this man goes on a trip how scary it must be, because as you've always heard when they talk about terrorists and things of that regard, it only takes one time. You know, you could do things correct 99 times, but if you miss on that one time, it could be completely, really be a problem. So, absolutely crazy. Don't know what this is. And is this going to go black or what? Yeah, that goes black if I push that. So, I don't know what happened. There I am. Crazy. Don't understand what just happened there, but it did. All right, let me continue with the video I had put together. Let's go continue the story as to why Democrats are crazy.
I should be working right now. I should be at the Capitol. I should be in a suit. Instead, Republicans sent us home because they would rather stand up for Donald Trump than release the Epstein files and stand up for victims. We could be in Washington, D.C., lowering your healthcare costs, lowering your grocery costs, and restoring your rights. I should be working right now. Instead, I'm pumping iron at the gym.
No, you're not really pumping iron. Just let you know, you had 135 pounds on that set you're doing. The plates are 45 each, and the bar is 45 for 135. Because some people ask me, Barry, how do you get to 135? That's how it is. The bar is 45, and each plate's 45, so it's 135. Which kids in high school are doing. Small kids in high school are doing. And he's acting like he's pushing some serious poundage. It's kind of embarrassing, Eric. No guy looks at that and goes, man, he's got something going there. You're embarrassed yourself. You want to show something? Put on, like 3 plates. Rack up 315 pounds, maybe even 250. And then, show everybody doing it. Plus, you're doing it on a squat rack. Those of you guys who don't know, or ladies who don't know, a squat rack is where you would do a bench press, but you're not really sure how many you can do, so if it comes falling down on your chest, the rack will stop it. Which tells you he's not used to bench pressing, because if he was bench pressing and he could do what he could do, he'd be on a regular bench doing it, completely free. These people are stupid. They're definitely stupid. But in any event, when he's saying, I should be working, I'm pretty sure if you wanted to work, you could work. You see, you represent the people in your area. You don't represent Washington. So you could be out right talking to people in your district, asking them how they're prospering, what they need to do, what you need to do for them, but you're afraid. You're afraid to talk to them because if they tell you what's happening, you're not going to like it. And that's what most Democrats don't want, and that's what most media people don't want. It's easy to stay in a bubble. But when you step outside that bubble, people are going to figure out you're pretty much an idiot.
Results will definitively be historically bad. He is crashing the economy in real time.
Donald Trump is teeing up a nationwide recession.
When Donald Trump is directly destroying the stock market in bursts of economic policy dementia.
This is economic arson. It's not a lightning strike. This is a guy setting fire to your savings.
Hi, this is Senator Alex Babiak here in Boyle Heights.
All right, so last night before the shooting and everything, oops, I said the wrong word for these people here. I was talking about how they've completely lost it. And every single thing they've tried to do for the last couple of months is just to light everything on fire and tell everybody things suck. Trump is destroying the economy. And every single time they say that, they look stupid moving forward. But very few of them look as stupid or have looked as stupid as Senator Padilla here. Senator Padilla, the same guy who tried to barge in on Kristi Noem's event, the same guy who is, basically cried because he got arrested or detained rather. Now he's making, as I mentioned yesterday, probably one of the best campaign ads for Donald Trump ever.
Just outside of downtown Los Angeles, in one of LA's most iconic, historic, and vibrant neighborhoods typically. But ever since Trump's ICE raids really began in earnest in early June, you've seen not just a drop in foot traffic, pedestrian activity here in the community, but all the business owners here have seen a significant drop in business. A lot of their customers too afraid to come out and shop, too afraid to come out and eat, like it's a cheese by the oro here in Boyle Heights. So for folks who are wondering what they can do to push back, what they can do to counter this Trump crackdown, you can protest with your wallet. Come support a small business, immigrant-owned business in these diverse communities as part of our pushback.
What are you pushing back against? Newcomers not being able to be in the country? People loss of business because they're not supposed to be here? They've been catering to an entire population of people who aren't supposed to be in this country? That's what you're pushing back against? You're saying ever since President Trump has done the deportations, people are afraid to come out of their houses? So what you're saying is ICE could just hang out in the street because everybody who traffics in this area, who goes to these stores, all of them are newcomers. You just told the world that your entire district there is nothing but newcomers because they're afraid to come out of their houses. Now the businesses are failing because they can't get any money from the newcomers. My gosh, you have to understand what you just said. Anybody else is looking at this going, so these businesses were only doing well or anything because newcomers were coming out of the house here. They were driving, they were making all the traffic, but now because of deportations, the streets are empty. There's no traffic. That's the objective. That's exactly what Donald Trump wanted to do. Donald Trump wanted to get these people out of here, and if they get chased into the closet and have to hide, then they can't come on the street. It's pretty much going to be easy. You've just told him, park some people out here, and most of the people walking up and down the street are probably not from here. You just made Tom Homan's day. You're an absolute moron. I could probably do it at this point. Tom, just deputize me. I'll hang out in the street because you just told me everybody that comes into this restaurant, because now it's empty, aren't from here. What a great campaign ad.
This one was a surprising one to me, given everything that's going on in Russia, what happened in Iran, what happened in Gaza. But the bottom line is Democrats in the American voters' minds cannot hack it. What are we talking about? Party trust more in foreign policy. Well, the GOP holds an average 6-point lead in the month of July. Look at this. Fox News came out last week, plus 3 points for Republicans on foreign policy over the Democrats. You think that number is not high enough for you? How about the Wall Street Journal? GOP plus 8 points when they match congressional Democrats up against congressional Republicans. The bottom line is this. Despite everything that's going on in the world right now, Republicans are more trusted on Democrats when it comes to foreign policy and the world at large. Trust more in foreign.
So, everything you've been seeing in these other polls is pretty much crap, right? I mean, I don't put trust in any polls. None. At this point, even something that I thought was good, I can no longer put trust. I have to turn my back on you now. Because with everything we're seeing in this economy and how things are going, I'm going to have to tell you that it seems as though CNN now has a better focus on things than some of the people we thought actually had a good focus. Because there's no way with everything we're seeing that people are telling me or telling you, oh, we're not going to vote for Trump because, yeah, we haven't got the Epstein list yet. Said only idiots. You have no choice. You have no choice but to support Trump. Unless, of course, you are okay with your complete way of life just going away. That's your only choice. I don't like what Trump did. I'm not going to vote, which in essence is a vote for the Democrats, which means I'll probably be in a Marxist commie government really soon. That's your only choice. It's idiotic. It makes no sense. I would call all these people out and go, no, you're lying. I know you're lying. I'm going to tell you you're lying to your face. Because everything that is about your life, everything that you do for your family, for everybody, would be changed irreparably if you don't support Trump or whoever the next candidate's going to be. You don't have a choice. Makes no sense when you actually talk to people and just say, what else you got to do, honey?
Policy, you go back to 2024, Trump had a 6-point advantage over Kamala Harris. Again, look at the average right now. It hasn't moved despite everything that's going on in the world. You see Republicans plus 6 points here. And this goes back to a larger issue that we have discussed over and over again here in the mornings. Despite any misgivings that the American public might have about Donald Trump, when you match up Republicans against Democrats, Donald Trump against Democrats, still at this particular point, they are doing significantly better than you might expect. And when it comes to the issue of foreign policy, again, what you see is in the American voters' minds, Democrats simply put can't hack it. More voters trust Republicans on foreign policy, very much like they did back during the 2024 campaign.
What about the strikes on Iran? Because while they were being contemplated, they were not universally popular.
No, they were not universally popular, and in the immediate aftermath, they were not universally popular. Look at this. Net approval rating, U.S. airstrikes on Iran. In late June, the net approval rating, look at that, -8 points underwater. But as the American people learned more and more about it, look at this, a 10-point rise. Now,
so I mentioned this last night because that is a huge thing what he just said there. As the American people learned more about what happened in the Iran strike, it shifted. It shifted by nearly 10 points. Once they learned, so I guess what Harry is saying in front of the other guy from CNN is once they found out the truth, once they found out that, hey, listen, this was a perfect mission and that this mission flew across the world basically in silence, showed up, did the job, bombed the heck out of Iran, turned around, and never lost a plane, never lost any soldiers. They all came back safely before anybody knew what the hell happened. But in the aftermath of that bombing, all the media and stuff were talking a bunch of crap. And so what happened? So President Trump, over the last, since that happened, people, quote, learned. Means they found out that the media is full of crap. And so all these other polls are going to do the same thing. The media comes in with a deluge. The media comes and says, bad, 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 bad Trump. Bad, 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 he sucks. And then people sit back and go, hey, it actually worked. Tariffs bad, oh, wait a minute. So he's 750 billion? What do you mean? They can't help themselves because their initial reaction is to complain and say Trump did something bad. And everything that he's doing, the problem that the Democrats versus the Republicans right now, and I won't even say Republicans, I'll just say Trump, is that they're so used to add water, instantly something's supposed to happen. And President Trump told people in January, hey, it's going to be a little tough for a little while. You remember that? It's going to be a little bit tough. And then when we get through it, bloom. And damn if that ain't happening. Hey, listen, that was April. Oh, things suck. Just wait. And now here we are going into August, and people are like, oh, wow, 750 billion, 550 billion, gazillion, trillion. And people can see this. And so the problem the media is having is their initial assault is not sustaining the Democrats. Because people are living through the initial assault, and then they're like, okay, that hurt. I got to pay a little bit more for gas, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, I'm settling into this stuff. This is looking good. I got some extra money in my paycheck. This guy FICA isn't taking so much. Wow, this is looking good. And so they can't sustain that assault, and that's one of the problems they're having.
The positive, the American people like the move that Donald Trump put on Iran, the U.S. airstrikes in Iran, a positive +2 net approval rating. So again, the bottom line is this. As the American people learn more about these airstrikes, as the American people compare Donald Trump and the Republicans against the Democrats, they see them far more favorably than you might expect. Interesting and notable.
No. What you meant was, as you might have expected. Most of us realized, hey, if he can do this, and this, things in a couple of months are going to be fantastic. And so remember, everything that you're seeing right now, it's been 6 months. I like people to project, like anyone in business and yourself, you want to project where you're going to be 6 months from now. At the rate things are going, where do you think Americans will be financially 6 months from now? That's something where people need to start thinking. Stop thinking about today and thinking, okay, 6 months from now. If January I was here, and if July I'm here, I expect to be here come December and January. And that's why I've been bringing up to you what's about to happen. We got the rest of the summer for travel and visiting friends and going different places. And then people are going to dive into football season, college and pro, and they're going to be traveling and going to hotels and going to tailgates and everything. So one of the problems that the Democrats and the media always avoided, hey man, there's 100,000 people in all these stadiums. How can the economy be so bad if there's 100,000 people in Michigan and 100,000 people in Knoxville, Tennessee, and 100,000 people in the Rose Bowl on the same day? And then the next day on Sunday, every NFL team has 60, 70, 80,000 people in attendance, and everybody's screaming, and they just paid $200 for a ticket and $50 to park and the hat and the glovey thingies. Y'all ever take those pictures and think to yourself, how can that be happening? How can people be existing and having such a good time if things are so flippin' bad? So you watch what happens now. You watch when they're doing airplane flyovers and everything else and what happens come July. I can't wait. I'm telling you in advance so you can put down the binoculars and go, hey man, there's 120,000 people in this game. Screaming their faces off, spending money, because every person that you see represents a per cap of X dollars. I'm taking the grandkids and Ashley out to a movie tonight, and it's not just a movie theater, it's a luxurious eat-in, dine-in, whole thing. And I think I told you we try to do the days of first. I'm not sure if they've been to one of these types of theaters. And when you go in the theater, it's like, wait a second. And then you click the button, they bring you the menu, and you can order your food, and you sit back and watch a movie. It's a great experience. People are spending money. It's Tuesday night. And today they went and did their stuff on the beach and had fun. There's people on the beach. As things move forward, it can only get better. Only.
He may be an area that is stronger for him.
What's the pitch? What's the policy pitch? How are you telling American voters you are going to improve their life?
I can answer you. Their pitch is, isn't Donald Trump terrible? Right. And that's what he's saying. That bill that just passed is bad. Well, what's your bill? You know, what are you doing? Now, I noticed that I noticed Bernie Sanders, John Kerry, guys said, we should have sealed the border, we made a big mistake. I go, okay, now the Democrats have a plan. They're going to plan to admit they were wrong, and they're going to back that portion, and then I guess they'll focus on the illegal immigrants here. But no, nobody else followed in his wake. So they got 33% favorables. 33% of the country are in favor. So that's a panic moment. I remember.
All right, so if the Democrats are panicking because their ratings are going, tell me how at all it makes sense that Trump's going to lose the midterms. Something not making sense here. And you're telling me, hey, listen, Democrats suck, but yeah, Trump's doing great, but he's going to lose the midterms. And then you hear this.
I, along with probably most people, was saying at the beginning, oh, you know, by the 4th of July, somebody had to think how the country was, the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me, but that didn't happen. Now, it could happen tomorrow.
See, there's another problem with what's going on with the Democrats is you lose whatever little bit of credibility that you had. You cried wolf. Oh, it's going to be awful. You're going to be poor. Only the millionaires and billionaires are going to make any money. Nobody else is going to make any money. It's going to be horrible. Hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. And you're starting to hear that more, even with prominent Democrats like Bill Maher. I was wrong. I was wrong. It only takes so many of these people to say I was wrong before they start convincing people, yeah, we got lied to. It's all over. It's all over.
I'm just saying, that's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty. Because the truth is, I don't know what his strategy is. But look, the stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market, but I also drive around. I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see people out there just living their lives. And I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to fucking sink this economy by this time, and they didn't. So, you know, how do we deal with that fact? Because that's the fact.
See, that was one of the things I was trying to tell you guys a long time ago. I say it often, is the Democrats in the media, people like Bill Maher, actors, entertainers, athletes, they may be Democrats on the surface, but behind closed doors, they're Republicans. They're doing everything with their money to further themselves. They're buying stock. He just said it. He goes, the stock market's a record high. I understand not everybody else. Yeah, I'm buying stock, Bill pretty much said. I'm doing things. I'm investing. I want to pay less taxes. I probably have IRAs and mutual funds and all these different things. I'm using conservative financial opportunities to better myself and my family while I carry that banner on television. I'm a complete hypocrite. Because I need that banner because these crazies like what I say. But I'm actually doing the stuff that Donald Trump advocates for. Let that sink in. I've said it so many times, and finally somebody comes on and does a video and goes, yeah, the stock market's at a record high. You're not supposed to be doing that, Bill. You're supposed to be giving all your money away. You're supposed to be broke like us. You're not supposed to be up here making money and using different instruments and buying stock. You're a capitalist pig. We're going to have to come in and tear down your house and kick in your front door. And it's all a ruse. It's all a grand illusion. Many of you didn't realize it. I'm so glad I found that piece. They're all doing exactly the same thing. When you heard from Susan and she was talking about Gavin Newsom's wife and how she formed this company and siphoned money, it's all the same thing. It's all a ruse to keep people voting for them so they can make as much money as possible. And when people start realizing that and they start understanding that it's, as George Carlin said, one big ass party that you don't have a ticket to. Except with Donald Trump, you now have a ticket. So you were excluded from all this. Now you're like, wait a second, I can do this, I can do that? Yes. And in fact, I'm going to try and see if I can't get to a point where you don't have to pay any income tax anymore. Oh my gosh. But you got people saying he's going to lose the midterms. I don't know what happened to some of these people. I don't know what they're thinking, but they're not looking at things with a direct focus on what's actually happening. And as Bill Maher said, and the people from Fox News, hate Trump is no longer a strategy. Hate Trump, and he's a pedo. It's no longer a strategy. Not gonna work. Not even this much anymore, unless other people, other influencers, start telling you that. Because you're gonna have to. You're gonna get to a point. And I'm telling you right now, you can go ahead and bookmark. Right now, you can bookmark this video. It's July 29th. We're heading into August, and a couple months from now, go back and say Barry was right. People are, quote, as Bill Maher said, they're out there living their lives. They're not shunned in. They're not. The only thing we'd be shunned in is because of terrorist attack or something. But other than that, people are living their lives. You can't hide that. When people get ready to vote, I'm like, hey, my campaign slogan, if I was a Republican, hey, you been liking the last year? Yeah. Well, if you liked the last year, let's get some more of that for you. What are the Democrats going to say? Oh, Trump sucks? How's that going to work? The only way it works is if the people you follow keep saying the crap that they're saying. If they keep perpetuating the same stuff, trying to take Trump down, trying to keep him down, it doesn't make any sense. I don't know why everybody's not saying the same thing I'm saying. Hey, Lynn, life's great. Life's going to be great. Take advantage of the opportunities that Trump is putting out there. Skate to where the puck is. Learn. Dig into AI. Dig into crypto. Understand it all because it's right there for you. And it drives me crazy that people aren't saying that. And then even today, there's very little real news. I mean, Tim Burchett got kicked in the ribs. He broke a rib, but he got kicked in the ribs by one of his horses. Sorry, I love the guy. But there's not a whole lot going on. If Tim Burchett getting kicked in the ribs by a horse is big news, that means there's not a lot of news. So watch what happens over the next 3 weeks. Because without Congress being in session, and who knows what President Trump's going to do, or Pam Bondi or Kash Patel, but if there's no arrest, and they're going to have to rely on President Trump for all the news, there are going to be a lot of people with some dry content. Because they don't want to preach the prosperity to you. And I'm not, again, I said it yesterday, I'm not trying to be Joel Osteen. I'm talking about a prosperity that you earn, that you get out there and take advantage of. That's the big difference. He's giving it to you. He's showing you the way. I can't wait till he gets back. I don't even know what he's going to do tomorrow. It could be crazy. I talked to my 20-year-old grandson. He had a cold wallet. See, I don't even know what a cold wallet is. That's pretty interesting. Trump, the golden age. Absolutely. My first thought, very on newcomers. Yeah, if they gotta go, they gotta go. Redistricting. You should cover this topic. I think it's a big concern is over Democrats gerrymandering in Texas and Florida. Not down here. No, maybe Texas, not here. A lot of mules are Democrats. Time for these 20-something people to get into the industrial service technology. Absolutely. They are plagiarist followers that the original deals, no ideas crap. What's really funny is that when I decided I was going to do this show today, there's a few people out there that almost copy my titles word for word. And I just smile. And the problem with it is, if you don't feel it, if you're not out there doing it, if you're not out there understanding, go for the gusto. If you're not out there buying crypto, if you're not buying real estate, if you're not doing things with your family and enjoying life, it's very hard to promote it. And so I want you guys to understand that and get out there. Let's see here, the face of Abercrombie. I have a cold wallet, super easy to use. I don't even know what a cold wallet is. See, you're going to have to show me that. I have a cold wallet. You go offline and you're in control of your crypto and your keys. See? I'm going to have to learn that. And I'm going to. And we could have cold wallets all together. Lisa says, oh, you definitely have copycats. Yeah. Because the other thing is you notice if they do the work or not. It's easy to put up a clip and just make insults to the people. But if you dig in, and I'm not patting myself on the back. Like I've told you, I look so much into what Rush Limbaugh has. And that clip with Bill Maher was perfect example. If you listen to him talk and what he said, he's telling you he's investing. He's telling you life's getting better. And it's going to be very hard for Democrats, even for the Colberts of the world. Remember, Stephen Colbert making $16 million a year. And you don't hear any Democrats having a problem with that. They don't talk about it. They think that, capitalism's so bad. There's a whole lot of people in New York City who are not going to want Zohan the Great to be mayor. It just can't happen. Wait a minute, SB just sent me something. Did you send me something else about getting kicked by the horse? Let me see what you got here. Wait a minute. Where is this? St. Grok's definition of cold wallet. I love how he does that. I don't know what a cold wallet is. I'm going to have to find out. I'm 60. Where'd that go? I'm 60, and I just started crypto 2 weeks ago, and I put money on XRP. That's going to be a new highway system to move money around the world. Jump on it. Yeah, learn first. Let's see here. See, I get baited here by somebody, but I'm not even gonna see. Ashley and everybody told me don't do it. When you see somebody being an idiot, don't do it. But whatever. Barry, love what you do for us. You're my friend. You're the absolute best, most interesting host on YouTube. Thank you very much. Yes, Rush was the great Albert Rushbo. Yeah, where's that guy? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make sure he gets bounced out of here forever. Crazy, absolutely crazy. All right, so let me look at super chats. But before I do that, let me see if I can find this guy so I can forever, ever make him go to someplace else. I hate when people. Gotcha. Bye. This dude that said cats don't bark. He won't have to worry about cats not barking because he can't bark here anymore. Bye. Yeah, idiot. I got him, SB. Oh boy, did I get him. He's gone. Gone, baby. Gone. I hate when people just say stuff, try to get you. Yeah, whatever. All right, let me read the super chats. And there are some in here. Yeah. And then I'll put on the after party, and then we'll reconvene. It's a 6 o'clock movie. By the time we come back, spend some dinner time. I may turn on later. I might do it. I might have to test out the new Rumble system again. I guess a lot of people said there wasn't a lot of issues, no blackouts this time, so that's good. Yeah, let me know in the chat if a lot of people were having that problem where it was blacking out. Let me know if it was blacking out again. I'd love to know that got fixed. So let me know. All right. Let's go to this. Peaceful Haven Media. Know your client avatar, what they like, where they shop, know their whole story, and skate to the puck. That's where the puck is, where the buck is in this case. Exactly. Knowing who you want. If American Eagle, sure enough, found out $400 million in less than 30 days. $400 million. Demon of Cybertron. I don't care if care to Shaniqua Kwai, I'm buying it. Beverly Linton, Libnuts are attacking God's design for his creation. More evidence of spiritual warfare. Exactly. See, the one thing that it's hard for them, they have to understand, Sydney Sweeney had nothing to do with how she looks. And if she's proud of the way she is, which obviously she is, and it's her, she can make money from doing it and have a better life, maybe you shouldn't pierce your nose and have blue hair and look the way you do. And maybe you could have been the next Sydney Sweeney. Susan Brooke, Florida Republican Women's Federation in the city near U.S. nationwide, has asked to run for school council. Actually, check out North Carolina, 100 years convention in Florida. Oh, that would be awesome. I would love to talk to some people there. Jeanette, hey Barry, show me a Calvin Klein underwear ad with a good-looking man. Yeah, the ad. I'm a 60-year-old woman now. You never saw the one with Marky Mark and stuff? Tell me you actually saw that. Ruth McGurdy, Joseph Mengele was the pioneer in gender surgical mutilations. Y'all know all about him. C. Mills, Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, forgot about that. Good-looking guys and good-looking women. See, I'm gonna go way back to when I was in this high. Remember Petticoat Junction? Beverly Lytton, Obama ushered in the fundamental transformation of America as he boldly promised. Yes, he did. And these kids are toast, man. They're absolutely toast. If they got into that, ideology and everything, they're done. They're absolutely done. In fact, it seems like when you look at some of these people, they go to the extreme not to be appealing. How can you be less appealing? You want a good shock? Go Google Rachel Maddow's high school picture. Just do that. When we reconvene, you tell me if you've seen Rachel Maddow's high school picture. You will be like, serious? That is a shock for you. TYR, never bought AE clothes before. I bought a pair of jeans today just because of the people bitching. Sorry I joined UCO. And that was no commissions from American Outfitters, American Eagle. Beverly Lytton, since the FBI was so inept for Butler, okay, let me click off that because my mouse is doing funny things. Hello, Mr. Mouse. Okay. So FBI was so inept for Butler. Why did DT make one of the head of the Secret Service? Because that was the one guy who actually did well, Sean Curran. Gavin Newscomb is the real-life Lester Diamond character in the movie Casino. Whew. I don't know how people keep electing him. Beverly, hi Bear, did you get the email sent to Showmail regarding finances? Knowing you're super busy, if you can't respond, no worries. I haven't checked, but I will look for it today. I'm gonna have some extra time. Who's this? SV? Hold on. SV's got some breaking news here. What's he got here? Of course, it's not good. Massive explosion at Horizon Biofuels in Fremont, Nebraska. Wow. Chapo says Trump can lose the midterms if he lets the Dems run their cheating game. Got to stop that. Benedetto, should these Dems rooting for failure really share in our future big checks? A lot of them won't be. A lot of them don't want to work. They just want the handouts. And Beverly, losing the midterms, other fraud. Dems are most likely developing the means to do that after Trump won and survived in July. That would be July 13th, 2024. All right, everybody. I'm not sure what tonight holds, given the kids and everything, but if I go late, let me know in the comments if you guys would be around. All right? Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.